You're watching my review of Star Wars Episode 9, Revenge of the Broom Boy. Welcome to Morning Reflections. I am your host, the Fat Mantis. And no, Broom Boy, it was not in that, which is why I have to give this movie even extra points. This is actually Rise of the Skywalker review. This is a Star Wars movie that brought back something this trilogy has not had that the other ones certainly had, and it was the essence of camaraderie, the essence of having fun and enjoying yourself with your friends while you adventure. This movie hit the nail on the head when it comes down to the jokes, people messing with each other. You could tell these guys were having a good time. They knew each other real well, and it made you feel in that warm place the way we used to feel when we watched the banter go on in the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy. The characters. Finn and Poe finally actually have story arcs and are actually pivotal to the story going on around us. Poe continued to pull off his schoolboy charms and his shenanigans to stay charming, stay funny, and stay on topic. Meanwhile, Finn just did that funny thing where he walks the line between being goofy but being really macho, and clearly a ladies' man, because it seems like every girl in the galaxy wants to bang him. There's nothing wrong with a movie about that. And Rey, although not the deepest of characters, her physicality and what she brought to the table was certainly a lot of fun. She was a great contributor to the charisma of the film. I mean, let's face it, Rey ultimately is not a thinking character. She's actually a jock. You know, if this was high school, she'd be like in the gymnastic team, and she would not be reading many books, which is probably why it's very hard for her to learn how to be a Jedi through the Jedi texts. Kylo Ren, who basically playing the role of an obsessive stalker boyfriend. When he was doing his stalker thing, he felt like he was the vampire in Twilight. He's a creepy, weird, emo kid who just, watches a girl sleep or whatever. And that's the age, that's what romance is in the world of the internet. So I guess I gotta get over it. And I guess that was a story for both the ladies and the younger generation. Didn't particularly care for it. Now, I was hoping for my chocolate swirl, that's right. I wanted Finn and Rey to get it on. It didn't happen at all. I think I wouldn't be surprised if the actual completion of that storyline of Finn coming on, or at least confessing his love to Rey, ended up on the cutting room floor. I really wish I could have seen that, but it didn't exactly happen. Now, Rose Tico, she got what I refer to as Jar Jarred. In other words, at one movie she seems very important and she's like a main character, and in the next one they only have a few scenes with her. She certainly was the most talkative extra out of anybody. Really, I liked that this happened. I was never a fan of her addition into The Last Jedi, so I'm fine that she got relegated to Finn's side chick, if you catch me. Now we've got some new characters, particularly. We've got Zorii Bliss. Hey, that's Felicity. One of her most powerful things about this was the sex appeal. She's a woman in a suit with a mask. She's putting off that energy. I can understand why Poe wanted to smash. There was a time when she takes her visor and she slides it up. She looks at him and she had the sexiest eyes in the galaxy. Personally, I think that Zorii Bliss should have her own spin-off with her sidekick, Babu Frick. Love Kerry Russell. I hear they're having like a Cassian Andor show, as if I'm gonna watch it. I don't know who's gonna watch it. I think I'll probably skip, even though I have Disney Plus. I might just skip that one because of the Steve shows. But the Obi-Wan show is going to be great, and maybe one day a Zorii Bliss one. Who knows? So why is this a patchwork film? It comes down to this. It is a tale of two movies, and I'm not talking about conflicting movies. If it was a tale of two conflicting movies, we would have a horrible movie. But what it was is this is clearly two story arcs jammed together in a 2-hour and 40-minute running time. Basically it's a movie, and it's that movie and a lot of storytelling was taken out of it, which is why some sequences, they're just jumping to the next thing. They had to hit so many beats along this way. However, it is a fun time. Plot lines that were clearly skipped over or shortened. An example would be opening sequence of Kylo finding Exegol and encountering the Emperor. You can tell that scene was cut down immensely, and I'm sure they have way more footage of that. Another example would be the Stormtrooper deserter plotline that affected Finn so much. It was clear that not only were they on the verge of coming to a conclusion as to why certain stormtroopers just simply snapped out of their mind conditioning, but also the sixth sense and seems to be force sensitivity of Finn. I believe that it was going to reveal that all the stormtroopers snapped out of it because they were all force sensitives. Now that was not revealed, but I'm pretty sure there is footage of that. Also, I believe that the space battle at the very end was very shortened, edited version. You could tell because it was very disjointed. There's no way they wrote that script like that. I've heard that there is at least an hour and 20 minutes of extra usable footage that was not put into the film. So hopefully one day we'll get some sort of extension or, director's cut so that we can actually see what we're missing out on. But only time will tell if this theory is true. Rey's origin. She ends up being the granddaughter of Palpatine. To be honest, I thought the only thing that made Palpatine hard was doing evil, like drinking baby's blood or something like that. So the fact that he even had a girlfriend or a wife or something is just shocking to me. A lot of people are arguing, is this the right move? Is this a good move? I try my best not to fight about the things that actually happen. It's not up for me to decide. I'm just listening to the story being told. So that's the verdict. She is a Palpatine, and there's no reason to argue over it. Ultimately, there were two other avenues I would have preferred. Like she was a Kenobi, and the grandchildren were meant to play out the destinies Anakin and Obi-Wan didn't fulfill. Or the other one is that she could have been the love child of Darth Maul. Now we know Darth Maul is a big old slut. He goes from spaceport to port, just banging away as these Iridonians do. That would have been kind of cool, but whatever. We'll take the Palpatine situation. So Rey is a Palpatine, and she must have the legacy of darkness and evil that Luke and Leia also had. I thought it was done well, particularly the scene where she is gifted in using Force lightning. That blew my mind. I put out a grunt. I was like, ugh! Just a mere thought that Chewie was dead. I mean, it was such a crazy thing for them to psych us out about. I am glad that she didn't end up killing him that way, but that was really horrible to put us through that. I think that he should have probably stayed dead in the storyline a little longer, but it is what it is. I really wanted the confrontation between the granddaughter and Emperor to be a little more dramatic and less hand-wavy. What I mean with hand-wavy is she encounters Palpatine and he gives his normal cliche join me or die dark side thing that he has said 1,000 times before, and then she doesn't give in, and then he's using his hands, he's going blah, blah, I'm evil, blah, and he's either shooting lightning up in the sky or doing whatever, and he's tossing people off buildings with his telekinesis. And I just kind of wish that there was more verbalization, more talking, more discussions. Maybe she had a question about her parents. Maybe there should be some sort of played out drama. But instead, we just got a heavy orgy of special effects. And that is something I didn't like. But I wouldn't say I hate. I would just have preferred a more dramatic ending to our saga. Now we're getting down to the ending. The neckbeards are whiling out. They'll while out about anything. And one of the things the neckbeards are flipping out about is whether Rey has the right to the name Skywalker. As we all know, in the very end of the film, she claims the name and has made herself an adopted Skywalker because Luke and Leia served at two different periods in her life as the mother and father that she never had. I thought it was beautiful that she went to the Lars moisture farm on Tatooine. She buried the lightsaber, and it looks like she's going to be in a somewhat seclusion, probably more happier seclusion, working on becoming the best her that she can be, and people are not feeling it. Personally, I thought it was a beautiful, eloquent way to end the saga. That the Skywalker lineage may be done with. They weren't very sexual people. I don't even know how they got so far as they did. 2 or 3 generations. Procreation doesn't seem to be their thing, but it's cool that somebody adopted that name and they're going with it. And I thought it was beautiful. So one of the things I want to talk about is the lack of consequences that go on in the story. Example is C-3PO gets his entire mind wiped and he's completely donezo. I don't even know why they kept him into the story, and toward the end of the film, sure enough, R2 has a backup for him and is able to restore his personality, basically resurrecting a character. There was no consequence, there was no cost to C-3PO's helping out the adventure. Furthermore, they backpedaled on something that I really think they should have stuck with, which is the murder of Kylo Ren. When he got stabbed in the gut and it seemed like he was dying, the Force healing abilities. It was just used as a way to take away any sense of consequence for us. And ultimately, if you look at it, no characters died. You know, there's really nothing going down there. Everybody ends up safe. You know, I don't know what's going on with that. There should have been more lives taken. And I'm not just talking about the extras. Some people in our cast should have died. At least one of our heroes should have fallen. And C-3PO should not have come. To summarize, this movie had long periods of just pure, very good movie, engaging, fun, shenanigans. It's almost like there are multiple mini great movies throughout it, and the connecting thread didn't exist so well. So if you are a lover of screenwriting, or if you're a movie Nazi, or you're really into the technical aspects, you may find that to be a negative on it. However, it doesn't really bother me so much, as long as I was engaged the entire time and having a good time. The lightsaber sequences were elegant, to say the least. They each had their own gimmick. The first one being the astral projection between the two characters being able to duel while existing in two physical spaces that are completely different. It was breathtaking. The second lightsaber duel, having to do with the waves jumping back and forth, was effective in its clarity and power. And its finale, with the striking down of Kylo Ren, was just awe-inspiring. I think those are lightsaber fights that are going to go down in history. However, there were just segments of just things that probably went overboard on fan service. Now, there were a couple of times in the movie that I actually got emotionally affected. One was the death of Princess Leia. Now, it was remarkable to see her in those scenes. Apparently, they used footage from Force Awakens, and they're kind of throwaway scenes. The only important part of it is that they're real footage of her, the late Carrie Fisher. But when she actually died, it was not just a shocking sequence because Kylo Ren got stabbed, but also because that was the end of Leia. I heard Chewie just giving out this guttural screech. My heart just broke, and I broke my tear barrier, and I was like, oh man, got something in my eye, bro. It was a little rough, but also the emotional stuff between Kylo and Rey, the aggression and hatred and passion that they have for each other, particularly during their lightsaber fights. I was emotionally invested in it. Absolutely, I was. Just knowing at the very end that Star Wars was coming to an end, that also kind of broke my tears. As the credits were going down, I was like, oh man, it's over. I'm only going to see stories about bounty hunters and Mandalorians and stuff. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker. I believe there is more movie out there. I believe that there will be extended editions. And I believe that what we really just saw were episodes 9 and 10. A double feature to close it out. I would have loved to see the rest of those things. And hopefully one day we will see the rest of the outcome of those stories. Guys, what did you think of Rise of Skywalker? Do you think Finn is really a potential Jedi? Who knows it? Until next time, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. But also, I want you to go, God, live the dream, and have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Ciao for now, Nerf Herders.